cut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best. You gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy. Is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports,
Yep, shout out to the hottest chat in the MFing game. A-side official. No negotiation needed, period. WCS back in the building. This was a mixed martial arts weekend. Still orientated in combat sports. Immersed in combat sports. Okay? Just so happened there was a fight card attached to this fight this weekend. Like any other combat sports promotion, we had names that derive the bouts that was on this combat card. Now, sometimes it's a heavy fight card everybody knows, or it's just average names that people just tune into because they may have heard something here and there. But ultimately, the fight game really is about popularity at the end of the day. Just talking about, simple fight fans. I don't want to really use the casuals because the casual fight fans are not used in mixed martial arts arena. Real talk. It's just boxing. They're the only ones that I hear voice casual boxing fans. Seriously. Anyway, that's not a problem. You have some great names that I've had the opportunity to see grow in the sport, transition from neighboring promotions to the UFC, and really make a great career. You know what I'm saying? Fought some very, very solid opposition. Now, what we've seen is a structure, a format of combat sports in the Ultimate Fighting Championship that has been deemed the premier promotion. We have seen other promotions attempt to sustain livelihood, and it just couldn't happen. Is it a problem that the Fertitta brothers and Dana White attempted to monopolize, and pretty much did that, mixed martial arts, and consider themselves the premier promotion? Listen to what I'm saying, right? In boxing, you have promoters that didn't want to work with each other back then. Did Dana White do anything different? He didn't have any other promotions that he had to work with. He wasn't in the open-ended arena as boxing. Boxing was in an open-ended arena. They had so many attachments, like the sanctioning bodies. You know what I'm saying? Different commissions, regional commissions. Within those sanctioning bodies, they had a method to the madness on how to move their fighters up the rankings. Whatever the fee across the bridge costs, that's what happened. We've seen it play out over and over again. But with the UFC coming from where we initially seen them in the 90s up to where they're at now. Yes, Dana White has had some choice words for boxing, but that doesn't mean he wasn't trying to get into the sport, because he pretty much started with boxing. Now, ego, some way, shape, or form, is a lapel of a man. We wear it very well. If you're a man with no ego, then we're talking about you using different pronouns. I'm just saying, a man, a real man, is going to have an ego. They're going to walk around with some type of chip, because that's who they are. That's who they deem themselves to be. You know what I'm saying? Call it what you want. You know what I'm saying? Call it what you want. But a real one, an alpha, is going to walk around as such. And I believe that's what Dana was doing, pretty much trying to say, hey, give us some time. We're not going to be in competition with boxing because we have structured. I remember back then when there was so many people saying that the UFC wasn't going to survive. It was barbaric. Y'all remember that? It was barbaric. You mongering fools. This is barbaric. They was up here saying that mixed martial arts wasn't for the average TV viewer. There's no way the kids can look at this. It was bad for kids. It was bad for youth. This is extremely graphic, rated R. This shouldn't be played out on TV. Man, they was trying to shut it down, man. But the UFC survived. They went through the next necessary paperwork to start cleaning up the sport, because when they first initially came out, they didn't have any divisions. It was just mano a mano, man against man, no women involved. And you're talking about individuals who were supposed to have a resume of some type of martial arts or combat training. Now, to their experience, that wasn't even necessary. It's just the fact that there was no rules. Back then, there used to be no rules, y'all. They used to pretty much do groin kicks. I mean, well, I'll take that back. It was. You couldn't, no eye gouging and no freaking kicking in the groin. No, not kicking in the groin. What was it? Eye gouging and fish hooking, I think. I think you couldn't fish hook. But everything else, you can kick an opponent dead in their head while they was on the canvas. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? They had no uniformity as far as the attire. Everybody was just wearing their gi, or they would just come in whatever they felt comfortable. It was brutal. And then imagine going into a fight where the first round is like 10 minutes long. Can you imagine fighting that? Anyway, I wasn't here to pretty much make this a mixed martial arts type of live stream, but I wanted to kind of gather your thoughts, because we're going through a drastic change where you have individuals that really never rock with mixed martial arts, right? They took it for granted. And you heard WCS plenty of times. I say you need to pay attention, bro. Y'all need to pay attention, whether you like it or not. Boxing fans are some of the most stubborn, disloyal human beings on planet Earth that support a combat sports, bro. It's not a dislike of mine. I don't have no animosity towards these people. I'm one of them. But in reality, I have always had an open-ended variety of combat sports that I support. Boxing, MMA, Muay Thai, BJJ, all that shit. And I attempted to explain to people how other organizations are working. But you can only get so far, man. I even tried the styrofoam cup. I grabbed 2 styrofoam cups and hooked up the string, and I'll say, hey, man, put this up the air. Listen, pay attention to the UFC. Can you hear me clear? Can you hear me clear? Move out just a little bit, because the string is only 20 feet. Okay. If you're going to cover the sport of boxing, you're a boxing fan, pay attention to the UFC. All right. They're growing rapidly. All right. There's certain changes that's going on. One that should stand out for you. It's called uniformity. It's called uniformity. It's called proprietary freaking rules. I'm the premier. I'm standalone factor. They're showing you that they're here to take over. Monopolizing. That's what the UFC was showing. What they did was They just didn't allow their fighters to come with their own gloves. They created their glove. They created their fight kits. They say, I want this to be clean. Right? For a long time, Dana White said there's not going to be any females in my cage. I don't think they're worth they're coming in. You know, now you want to talk about narcissists? And Dana White was that. He showed that early on. He showed that his thought process about women joining the UFC wasn't at a height that it should be to complement the promotion. So therefore, that's why it took so long for the bantamweight division, the first division of the women's UFC debut between Liz Camooch, my comrade, and Ronda Rousey. It took so long. Still to this day, women only has 4 divisions in the UFC. 115 pounds, 125 pounds, 135 pounds, 145 pounds. Strawweight. All right. Flyweight. Bantamweight. Featherweight. Okay? So, quite different than boxing. Now, we have gotten to a point where the UFC, Dana White, the president, is a part of the Power Slap League. People just been ignoring this shit. Boxing fans, gullible, close-eyed boxing fans have been ignoring the moves, discarding, just brushing off the moves Dana White has been making. Not to mention how he was bringing in lower tier talent in the Ultimate Fighter house, having them stay there, right? Consistently, having a semi-tournament in the fight house where you eliminate fighters. You know, you have them fight from team. You had 2 teams, and the coaches were going to fight each other in the finale. But yet, these lower tier or novice fighters will fight until they get to the finals, and that was going to be televised. They continue to have this Ultimate Fighting Championship where it was actually a show that you can watch, right? I feel the boxing fans was just ignoring it because they didn't care. But they was bringing new talent to the freaking promotion and the organization. The tough finale, the Ultimate Fighter house, that's what Dana White brought to combat sports and building it up, right? And you ask yourself, what is this all about there, WCS? Well, we have another regime shakeup, okay? We have 3 individuals that have came together, and now they have put reports out there that they're here to basically create or be a part of organizing, role playing, being primary, I would say, role players in creating a whole entire different boxing promotion that is emulating that of the model of the UFC. Now, you all have to be extremely careful on how the language that you're using when you say it can't happen. Because when you say you can't, how can you say you can't do something in a sport that is not even regulated? You know what I'm saying? It's so huge. I say this all the time. When you have the tree of life in boxing, there's so many people that's eating off, you know, the bearing fruit. They picking fruit from the boxing tree of life that's been rooted for decades, right? You can be on one side, the eastern side, and then you can be on the western side. You don't really know who eating unless they end up meeting somewhere in between in a fight. Or one from the east go to the west and west go to the east and all that. You know what I'm talking about, right? So now we have a process where there's a regime shift. You have a meeting of the minds. You have individuals who are holding down a position that they fully understand when it comes to the qualification of what their task is. The task for boxing isn't that difficult, because when you look at the regional promoters, are they having a difficult time other than coming up with the site fee, the insurance for the fighters, and paying the fighters what was contractually agreed upon? Okay, that is something that you have to clench your fist at, because that can get pretty much intensive if you're talking about promoters losing money and everything, especially if certain fighters don't make weight. You know what I'm saying? You spend money on lodging, flights, all this shit that goes on in boxing. But you do have the microcosms of promotions, boxing promotions that exist. Now, do you have microcosms when it comes to mixed martial arts? Absolutely. But when it gets to the big dogs, which is the UFC is a promotion that promote mixed martial artists who are the employees of the UFC promotion. Stop saying boxing and the UFC. When you say boxing and the UFC, you're proving my point that you don't grasp the magnitude of what's going on right now. You have boxing fans that are coming off like they haven't been in class this whole time. You've been provided the curriculum and textbooks, but you don't want to crack it open. When I hear boxing, say the boxing and the UFC, you're giving the UFC so much power, because you cannot separate mixed martial arts from a promotion that is the premier, top grand kahuna at the top. You're pretty much proven that Dana White, when he came in here to monopolize the sport, you're proving to him that he did, because you keep on saying boxing and the UFC. You're not saying boxing and mixed martial arts. That's a lack of literacy on your part. You should know boxing is a combat sport, just like mixed martial arts and everything else. But you say the UFC. So that means you have isolated, you have titled, you have a distinct description of what the UFC is. And when you see or hear the UFC, you are talking about mixed martial arts. But the boxing fans, they don't name it as that. Anyway, moving on. Now, when you know that Turki Al-Sheikh, Dana White, has taken to the big screen to let everybody know they signed a multi-year deal, I speak about the complacency all the time. I say, hey, it's only so much you can do, right? There's been disappointment lingering amongst boxing for quite some time, right? There's been the hocus pocus. There's been situations where boxing should have some ethics. They should do what's right, but yet they still proved us in certain fights that they will rob you blind, and there's nothing you can do about it. How long has this been going on? For the longest period of time. Now we have a potential for the three-headed snake to come in and change this game up. Why are you? I'm asking you all directly. Those of you that are hell-bent on not believing change is possible. You don't want to agree that change is imminent. Once again, change for the sport of boxing is imminent. What happened during the pandemic when boxing was fighting in the bubble? Where were you all at? Somebody explain to me. Where was all these pundits? Where were they at? Why couldn't you all change the structure of boxing? Why wasn't boxing the first one to go out here and have a card that you can go watch fights? Why was boxing following the UFC? Dana White was the only one that had the cojones to step out and start putting on fights down in Florida. He went around house to house making phone calls. Hey, I want my guys, man. Forget all this pandemic shit. I want my people in the cage fighting. I want to put on fights. I want to go out here and get the promotion back thriving again. Let's go. Why couldn't boxing do that? I'm just giving you some tidbits of how boxing was playing second fiddle to the UFC. Now, not to go in long drawn out vasting details, but a lot of you all boxing fans need to relax when you hear that Dana White isn't capable of doing something he's already done. You have a system that has been loosely navigating through calm waters, rough waters, different type of terrain for a long period of time. The only reason there has never been someone taking over for bringing in their own promotion, because you need some very, very strong. You need a team, a unit that understands what this is going to entail, what is the end game, and they have to have enough experience. They have to have enough qualifications, and they have to have the commitment and dedication to go out here and make this change permanent. You can't just go out here with the temporary attitude. You have to go out here for long-term success. And that's what the end game is about. It should be about with these individuals. Now, I hear people complaining that they don't like what Turki Al-Sheikh is doing already. He's having a ring card, and he wouldn't let Canelo Reynoso bring the WBC belt. You mad? I mean, after all what Mauricio's done his way, you're mad because Turki is now locked in. You notice how his attitude has changed since the paperwork is signed? Turki pretty much had the puppy. It was almost like watching Sesame Street. He had all the puppets there and had his hand in their back, and everything seemed good. And now people are falling by the wayside because Turki is showing you that I've been behind the scenes plotting, planning, preparing to prevent piss poor performance. That's what Turki's been doing. Who did he bring into the fray? Good old Dana White. Y'all gotta stop acting like Dana White is not a legend in his own right. You have to stop acting like people don't know who Dana White is, bro. This man has been around long enough to know he's over there at the Power Slap League and he got the UFC. But yet we still have fight fans up here with blinders on. Y'all don't respect who he's linked up with. Why do you all believe that boxing is this spear? Right? You believe boxing is his own planet. Boxing is not a whole mass, bro. Why do y'all believe this is a solid mass that cannot be compromised? Boxing has been compromised for the longest period of time. It's never been a solid mass. So now with all the changes, you think that the sanctioning bodies are going to survive this? They're going to take a massive, massive hit on this shit. Because Turki is all about creating his own belts. He's not going to sign a fighter. Let me give you an example. You see a lot of your favorite fighters running over there to Riyadh season in Turkey, right? And you heard me say this. I say, listen, what is Turki Al-Sheikh? I mean, what is he? He's a chairman of what? GEA and ISSF. Okay? Now, we all understand that he's been attracting fighters to come over there. He's been successfully resuscitating the Ring magazine. I mean, the Ring magazine was in the graveyard, smoking on a pipe, I don't know what the fuck was in there. Was it tobacco, crack, meth? I don't know what the fuck was in there. But the Ring magazine was over there. And Turkey walked over there. Hey, my friend, I have some good news. I've purchased you. Relax. You're in good hands. I want you to drink from this glass from my friend. It's going to bring you back to life. It's going to take years off. Okay? It's going to rejuvenate your youth. I'm going to bring you back to the way you should have been raised. Do you believe in me? Yes, I believe. Drink from the glass. Hey, the Ring magazine drunk from the glass, God damn it. And it's back. The Ring magazine is back, right? But let's talk about the fighters. Some of your favorite fighters over there, right? You think if your favorite fighter, let's just say any fighter, okay? Let's say Dimitri Bivol. Dimitri Bivol is a current reigning defending, right? Once upon a time, they was talking about WBC has ordered Benavidez. You see the power struggle going on already? The WBC, Bivol is signed with who? Eddie Hearns. So, the WBC ordered Benavidez. So, being that Eddie Hearns is still umbilically attached over there, getting a little bit of change here and there, he has to make a decision because inside the walls, behind closed doors at the table, Turkey is telling Eddie Hearns what he can and cannot do. So WBC came out and said, hey, we order you fight Benavidez. Turkey say, nope, not on my watch. You're not going to fight on my watch, because he's pretty much saying, no, I signed the paperwork now. I'm acting different. You know what it is. Don't try me. I'm not supporting these other sanctioned bodies because I want to start right here, right now. See, Turkey's not doing anything that you haven't seen in the military. Once a change is made in the military, they do it abruptly, sharp, they're caustic, all that shit. They make the change effectively, immediately. That's what Turkey is doing. Turkey is separating himself from the sanctioning bodies. So then, being that Bivol has the WBC belt, he's going to have to make a choice. Vacate, or Eddie Hearns is going to have to come up with something. Who knows? Right? But let's even take it even a step further. In order for a fighter to fight on this promotion, the TKO boxing promotion, you're not going to have any other sanctioning body belts. So let's just say you're a unified champion. You know what I'm saying? Let's just say you're a unified champion, because a lot of these boxers was running over there. They got on Tank because Tank said, oh man, that looked like they sold their souls over there. But check this out. Let's take a little peek at a fighter that have two belts. Not one, but two belts. What type of recourse is that fighter going to have to take when Turkey says, you like the money? Yes, Turkey, I like the money. I pay you, right? Yes, you pay me. On time, right? Yes, on time. You cannot fight for me holding those two belts from those sanctioning bodies. You have to fight for my belt. One single belt per division. Are you willing to vacate those titles? Well, let me get back in touch. No, my friend, no. There's no talking. It's right here, right now. You tell me yes or no, or we don't do business. Boxing is a business. You are a prize fighter. You telling me that you can only make money one way? Do you know we make money so many different ways over here? You Americans, you always think you know the process. The ruler is yours. You don't know the ruler. The measure. It goes many different directions. Now I ask you again, and I usually don't ask twice. Are you fighting for me, or are you fighting for them? It's no coming back. You let me know. If you want to fight and hold your titles, I release you. There's no second chance. If not, you vacate the titles and you fight for me. What is it going to be? Well, I need the money. I'm fight for you. Okay, my friend. Good decision. We move forward. That's pretty much how it's going to be, y'all. That's pretty much how it's going to be. Turkey is not playing with these cats no more. There's no way that Turkey was going to continue to have Riyadh season and people not know what it is. Riyadh season is an entity in Saudi Arabia. That's not a boxing promotion. You know what I'm saying? It was only a matter of time before he was putting the pieces together. You seen him over there at the UFC the first time, but boxing fans took it for granted. So these champions that's over there getting the money, you know what I'm saying? You're going to be fighting for a belt that's not even recognized globally by the sport, because we're once again going through a nucleus. We're going through a gestation period. Yeah, we're going through another gestation period of boxing, y'all. It's not so much to the point where it's beginning from an embryo, but it's going to have some embryonic type of material, and it's going to have some, areas to it that, it's going to take time for the maturation process to affect the boxing public so they can attach to it. It's gonna be like grooming a baby that's bigger than what it should be, but yet just give it a little bit more time, and then it's gonna snap into the maturity. This is a change, of something that's already created, but boxing fans was used to that particular entity being a certain way. They was comfortable with it, so they understood what the behavior and the moves were. They understand how the process and protocol work. But now, you're about to go through a whole nother transformation. It's almost like boxing is about to experience a transformation that is stripping away some commonalities of the sport, such as us coming on here talking about what champion in this division should be fighting that. They about to strip that away from us. They're about to force boxing fans to hold a different type of conversation. The one thing that boxing fans, if you all would just get through your heads, right, is that your talk only has so much value. That's it. Our conversation, if you want to isolate it to social media, right? If you just want to say to social media, how much leeway or how much influence is social media just because you might put some shit. Look, I said again, you know how many people put in the hours and put hours of labor just to speak on social media about what they don't like about boxing? But you have the audacity to think you're going to change what's going on with the structure just because you say it's not going to work? How clueless can you be? You can't be that fucking clueless. The sanctioning body is not locked into a contract with every promotion. The sanctioning bodies don't have, we're not paying an access toll to go over here to the sanctioning bodies every time a fighter, a fight card is put on. We're not paying the sanctioning bodies a toll to cross that bridge. But fighters do pay them a tariff. Fighters pay them a fee, a stipend, 3% that they get right off the back. So you think that's going to happen when they go through a single title per division? That's not going to happen. How would that look? You will have fighters saying, I don't want to fight for a title. I just want to fight. You're charging me 4 and 5% to fight for a title shot, and I don't see the benefit from it. the extra money that I'm getting for being a champion that you're paying me in my purse, subtract the 5%, I could really make more money if I just keep on winning. And if I just keep on fighting and rotate. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to keep my money. You know what I'm saying? One thing that people are underestimating about Dana White is that he went out searching to get his fighters back in the cage during 2020. Whereas boxing, it wasn't a solid mass. It didn't have a so-called union. It didn't have a single team. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have a single search and rescue to go out here and say, find a regional state that we can start putting on these cards and let's get it popping and get back in the ring and get these fighters paid. Let's go. No, they followed behind the UFC. Now, they believe that Dana White coming in with two other figureheads, they're not going to feel it. You're going to feel it because the sanctioning bodies can't stop it. The sanctioning bodies can talk shit all they want, but they can't stop what's going on, bro. How can they stop when the mixed martial arts is a combat sports and they have their own belt system? Bellator had their own belt system. Strike Force, Elite FC, one championship, organization all the way in Japan. You think they give a fuck about damn the WBC, WBA, IBF, and the WBO? Hell no. They have their own belt system. So why are US fight fans stuck? Why are y'all hanging upside down, bro? You want to head rush the wrong way. You should be wanting to head rush for the positivity of the sport. You want to head rush based off torture and shit. Oh, I know it can be that way, but just hang me by my ankles upside down until I can't take it no more. And maybe when you let me down, when I turn back and reconvert myself upright, and the blood started, I'll forget about every this and boxing will be the way I want it to be. It's not gonna happen, bro. Sincerely, this shit is not going to change anything. Saying what boxing isn't going to do doesn't make any sense, bro. Who is boxing? Boxing doesn't have a single face card. Boxing is a sport that's in a system that's erratic. A lack of control. That's what boxing is. Boxing is open terrain. Huge landscape with no real structure to it. People consider structure to be promotions putting on fights. You know what I'm saying? They find out, they try to tell you that boxing is a sport where, oh, let me tell you what this gonna happen, and promoters in doing this and promote. If you haven't been paying attention, the U.S. promoters and across the pond, they have been affiliating and aligning themselves with Turki Al-Sheikh. Whenever Turki Al-Sheikh selects to clip, give them their parachute, pop the hatch, and kick them out that door, he's not going anywhere. He's gonna be cool. He's gonna touch down wherever he's supposed to touch down and continue his process, because they needed him. He didn't need them. So how do you group boxing? How do you collect boxing? How do you bring it into the fold and make changes to the point where it affects boxing overall? How do you affect boxing overall? You can't. You cannot affect boxing overall. What you can do is, you know how they say, right? You go to the head of the snake. In this case, I look at boxing as looking like Medusa. I find it to have a head full of mini serpents. I do. That's the way I see boxing. A head full of mini serpents. But when you get enough qualified individuals that has money, because boxing is a business. You have to have financial means. Deep. I'm talking about the aquatics have to be deep monetarily. When you have those individuals, the right individuals, you can cultivate a lot of shit that people are going to start to see. Of course, you're going to have individuals out here like they try to, do PBC. Oh, man, y'all shitting on PBC. They're going to be great. Showtime flew away. You are clear for liftoff, takeoff. You're clear for takeoff. Now, now you have Prime on deck. When they go up here and start putting these fight cards together, people are going to tune in, because not everybody, when it comes to boxing fans, are going to be on the same sheet of music, y'all. They're not going to be on the same sheet of music at all, period. They're going to say, hey, did you see that fight card? I don't know too many people on there. It don't matter anymore. It don't matter, because somebody's going to be starving. If fighters who have been waiting for this opportunity to get paid good money, and you have the promoters over here not being able to benefit them, not being able to provide them, they've had the big fights like Tio and Lomachenko on free TV, but yet we have people complaining. We have people actually complaining now. You have people actually complaining about what Turki Al-Sheikh is doing. Seriously, think about this. With everything that deals with money comes what? It comes rules. If you are an employee in any type of corporation, organization, wherever you want to standardize, whatever your standard term is, you're going to have some type of protocol, right? So when it comes to boxing, we know what the protocol is in this case. The wild part that they don't want to grasp is that the sport is non-regulated. So what prevents or prohibits TKO boxing to build and cultivate their own structure based off the format of the UFC, y'all? You can't stop it. How much money does it take to create a freaking belt? If you're talking about 17 divisions, I doubt TKO promotion is going to start off right from numero uno with 17 divisions. But the sport as we know it right now has 17 divisions. Does that mean that any other combat sport has to have 17 divisions if you're going to be a promotion? You don't think they can make some phone calls to the ABC and get some information? They've already extracted the WBA from BoxRec. They've already purchased Ring. I don't think y'all is willing to do the process of elimination on how all this is going to come to fruition. It's not going to be something that's short, quick, and simple, and you're going to see a totally reinvention of the sport of boxing. But the system is going to change again. Now, you still have access within that system to support whatever the old system looked like. Some of you are going to say, oh, this is not the new system. They just pretty much, copying what's already in place. Well, if you're saying they're copying a format already, which is the UFC's model, and the UFC is thriving, right? How in the hell are you all going to say it doesn't work? Because boxing has more fighters in the sport? Okay. But it's a lot of y'all don't even know how many boxers are going to be signed with TKO Promotions. They didn't say they was going to Congress to cancel out every other promotion and monopolize the entire sport like the UFC. There's still micro freaking promotions out there that's covering mixed martial arts bouts. But when it comes to boxing, TKO promotion, and to my assumption, I don't think it's trying to shut down the whole entire sport of boxing and just have one promotion. No. But they are going to starve. They are going to have some promotions on rations. You are going to see some of these promotions evaporate. They're going to go in the shadows. They may not be absolutely with the headstone just yet, but they may be at a point where they're going to be deep, deep in the shade. The language that we're using now, the Golden Boys and all that, them promotions going to be fading off. They may be still putting on fight cards, but nothing to the magnitude for which we've been seeing. Which brings me to this point. How can boxing fans in general, I'm only talking about the U.S. boxing fans, how can you feel some type of way, right? When I hear all the time on how y'all say that you're not going to purchase a fight. That's you all talking. I'm not going to buy the fight. I'm not going to buy the fight. So you're spreading this agitprop all over social media for anyone who will hear, to any community that will listen, and you start to form these groups who listen to the same people. The herds continue to grow in size. I'm not buying that fight. I'm not buying that fight. I'm not buying that fight. And now, with all the fights that have been pirated, have been streamed, and you're refusing to support the very same promotion that is struggling, barely keeping afloat, and you want to complain about Turkey Al-Sheikh starting a TKO promotion. We haven't even got to what the pay-per-view is going to look like yet. Turkey came out and said he's going to charge like $20, $25. But as we know now, when this promotion gets going, y'all have to understand what I've been telling them. The UFC has been charging people pay-per-view prices for the longest of time, and they're not having the conversation that the boxing fans are having. They're continuing to put fight card after fight card after fight card after fight card, where we just went a weekend with no fight card. We boxing fans are over here like, when is the next big fight card? Okay, we got Canelo coming up. Canelo, yeah. Who is he fighting? William Skull. Oh, man, I ain't paying for that shit, dog. Fuck that. I ain't paying for that shit, dog. Who the fuck is Skull? Okay, so you continue to refresh and reciprocate your disappointment that Canelo is fighting Skull. Why? Because he has a belt. That's why. What do WCS always say? Canelo is the last. He's gonna be the last cash cow that's up here picking and choosing and getting all this damn attention. He's gone. He's gone. He's done. Once this shit expires, it's done. Once we start to really grandfather in this new promotion, it's going to have some a little bit of engine trouble here. Once they get it tuned up real nice and it's able to take flight, fight fans ain't going to have no other choice but to tune in and listen and pay attention. Because if you're up here saying you're not going to, all I heard was bitching and complaining about Tank Davis, them charging what they was charging for the pay-per-view for Lamont Roach. And then the fight ended up being great. Why? Because you had so many Tank haters up here hoping he lose, and y'all didn't support freaking Roach because you was dogging the fuck out. That is why you in the position you are now. All the freaking discord, bro. All the bidding for the damn hate towards a fighter is the reason why the U.S. is the way it is. You want to stay in a fucking bubble while everything else is around you is in rotation. You come out the bubble and things done switched up and you want to find people to blame. You ain't going to be able to stop this shit. The promotion has some heavy hitters, bro. So get ready. Get ready for them payloads, man. It's dirty work at the end of the day. You can't stop this damn movement that's going on. That's what happened when they don't regulate a sport and allow shit to keep on moving and moving and moving. And it's really no vortex at the core that's generating that energy for the sport to continue to grow and get better and better and better. It's no fucking vortex, man. You take away the energy source of a sport and you ration it over and over again, and then the energy starts to decrease. And people's like, oh man, we're not getting the best fight the best. It's almost like Total Recall up in this bitch, bro. It's like you step outside, you can't breathe when boxing is the topic. Motherfuckers have lost friendships. They have goddamn went through extremes based off boxing topics of stabbing each other in the back, bro. Doing full-blown hours of live stream because disagreements on boxing topics. This shit exists on this platform. But yet you're mad because a foreign entity has now come to roost with an entity that's been here already, who's grown, who's sold. He has been from the cultivation process, and when Endeavor purchased the motherfucking UFC, and that person still has stock in the company. And you're saying he don't know what he's doing? No, let me repeat what I just said. Dana White was with the brothers when they was growing, they was sprouting, they was blooming. They went through the whole sanctioning process of transitions, all the paperwork, all the meetings, and all this shit. When the motherfucker was struggling, y'all remember when the UFC was struggling? The motherfucker was struggling something bad. They fought through the shit, was able to get it on TV. That's what was damn dehydrating them. That's what was fucking with they freaking appetite. They had to get it out to the public. It had to be televised. They had to put it on the big screen. Once that happened, you can't sit up here and say Dana White don't know what he's doing in boxing. Just because he's a part of mixed martial arts. So I'm guessing the Power Slap League that's taking off, that Dana White's a part of, right? Right? I guess y'all ignoring the attention that the Power Slap League is getting, right? Like, people really tuned in to see motherfuckers slap each other. No, not just any slap. You don't have no motherfucking headgear on, okay? It ain't no amateur slap league. No, it's slap the senses and taste out your mouth slap league. It's palm to jawbone. Motherfuckers' faces be discontorted and mug be dropping to the floor, knocked the fuck out. And y'all don't think people tuning into that shit? Man, this TKO boxing shit is going to be simpler and a bit more simple than you think. Go ahead, be a surrogate for this boxing shit. Walking around here, I'm a surrogate for the boxing. I'm gonna keep it right here close to me until the right time to birth something new. You ain't gonna birth shit. What you gonna do is birth the orphan. You're gonna birth a motherfucker that's so behind as far as literacy go. You're gonna be trying to birth the motherfucker and teach them what boxing used to be. It's hard for me because the other kids are saying that I need some updates. You got me back here in 2023. You're talking about something in 2023. We in 2030s. Why am I so lost? They be over there talking about boxing and this, the way it is now, and you're trying to birth me into an environment where I'm restricted, as if they're in a lab. If they're riding a short bus to school. Now, I want you, don't talk to nobody now. Keep that helmet on your head because you're going to get frustrated. Okay, as you're going to see some things, you're going to ask yourself, why am I not doing that? Why am I so different than all the other kids? And you're going to bang your head off the window. Don't do that. It'll get better for you. It's all a front. Sooner or later, we're going to go back to the old school. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be one of them old niggas out here talking about the way boxing used to be, and TKO is up here thriving. And you busy up here, hey man, let me tell you, I still don't like that Dana White. I hate that motherfucker. He took away my baby. What you mean, the baby? I mean, boxing was a straight up horror. You look at it, everybody's goddamn taking their turn in boxing. So nigga, you was messing with a hoe. You was trying to champion, you was trying to wipe a hoe, nigga. That's where that baby's from. Man, come on, don't talk about her like that. There's a lot of people depend on her back in the day. I'm telling y'all, it's not gonna be to the benefit of these people who's not willing to understand that this structure is not gonna remain the same. It's some people that's gonna get starved out. Fighters have to understand, and they do understand, that there's no retirement plan. Once again, I'm being as genuine as I possibly can, telling you, there's no retirement plan to this. So if you want a fighter to give up making guaranteed money and being able to fight in a much more active rotation, and knowing they're guaranteed to get their money, yo, not this shit here where, you know, they have a budget of 20,000, but they only want to pay you 8,000 type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, fighters have to understand they have to do what's good for generational wealth. They have to make some changes because shit is getting more expensive. Fighters are struggling. They have to have full-time jobs. And they're going to say, you know what? If I'm going to get guaranteed money over here with Turkey, that's where I'm going. I'm going to have to fight tougher competition, but that's what it's all about. I'm going to have to tighten up in the gym. Say what you want. Say what you want, bro. Let me get to Thurman. Keith Thurman, once again, has made his presence known. He's about to go in here and you know, have a fight, okay? And I'm not gonna mention his opponent because this is not about his opponent, okay? Keith Thurman, in an interview, had pretty much made his voice. You know, Keith Thurman is known for having a mouthpiece when it comes to boxing, and everybody always credit Keith Thurman for having that mouthpiece. So therefore, he really flushed the toilet on Shakur Stevenson's career. And I'm going to go over some snippets of what he said, but it's always better, right, for you to hear it yourself, right? You know what I'm saying? Ain't that the best way to do it? So let me put this thumbnail up here. I'm just going to do the audio, and I want you to hear what Keith Thurman, the former unified welterweight world champion, you know what I'm saying? He took a dump on Shakur Stevenson's as a fighter. For real. He took a dump. Peep this out, what he said.
Beat people like Tank. I mean, Shakur hasn't even been in with Isaac Cruz. Come on. I get it on like some boxing level stuff, but I really don't get it. I don't. Do something, bro. Do something, bro. What have you done? Who have you fought? Who have you beaten? Tank's got names, bro. Tank's been in the fire. I don't think Shakur's been in the fire, man. You know?
He said he don't think Shakur's been in the fire. What fire he talking about, y'all? Somebody explain what fire Keith Thurman talking about. He said he don't think Shakur's been in the fire, bro. That's Keith Thurman. He said he don't think Shakur's been in the fire.
I think this matchmaking is way weaker than just resumes, you know? People see a skill set, yada, yada, yada. I get it, but word on the street is that boy's been slapped. Like, I don't know. I don't like, it's really hard for boxers like that. You know, he's going to have to just box. I mean, whatchamacallit, just like Uh, just like the controversial fight Haney had with Ryan.
Mm.
And Haney's a great boxer. They think he's like, they think he was the nicest. Not the nicest. They think Shakur's the nicest. I don't think he's the nicest. I think he's nice. Is he really the nicest? I don't know, man. You want to know if he's the nicest? You got to put him with somebody who got drop bombs like ISIS. Okay, you handle them.
He said you got to put him in there with somebody who drop bombs like ISIS, yo. That's key. He said you got to put him in there with somebody who's gonna drop bombs. Is he right or wrong? I'm just saying, is he right or wrong?
Bombs, and then let's see, man. I mean, obviously we've seen whatchamacallit lose in the past. Isaac Cruz, right? But like I'm saying, man, he ain't even been in with one of them type of dogs. Like, I want to see dogs, bro.
Thrown from every which way. Yeah.
Go through some dogs, bro. Um, I mean, just put a few good names on the list. Like, it ain't like he got. I mean, he's small. I mean, I don't think him and Rolly or anything like that. I think Rolly's too big and stuff. But I don't know, man. Like, just the resume's not there. The resume's not there. I don't ever think about him and Tank. I don't know. You guys do, and I don't even really know why. I think it's just some like some fantasy football bullshit. I don't really think it's real. I don't agree with you on this. And that it's equivalent to Thurman and Spence. It's not. It's not. Thurman did a lot. Spence did a lot, and it was something that the world.
Thurman and Spence did a lot. But I remember you wouldn't fight that man. Even though Spence was calling him out every breath he had in front of the lens, those optics wasn't enough for Thurman to say, yeah, I'll fight you, Spence. That's a fight that we wanted to see at the premier prime. Oh, my God. But it never happened, Thurman. Yeah, we're not going to let that slide. If you want to include Errol Spence into the damn dialogue the monologue that you haven't explained yourself, it's no way that the boxing fans gonna let that slide because you didn't fight that man.
World was ready to see. I don't think he's done a lot. I mean, just one. Put one on the resume. One good one on the resume. I would like two good names on the resume before stepping to Tank. But yeah, man. I mean, honestly, it's the Tank show, man. Whatever Tank wants to do. If Tank says this guy's next, this is where I'm making my money next through facing the Shakur. This fight happened. I think they both put on good boxing, tactical boxing. I think both of their defenses were good. I think both of their offenses were good. They both found ways to get inside each other's guards, pop in with some counter punches. I think Roach had some of the better counters, which made people think that he won the fight. Forget about the knockdown, no knockdown. It was a close fight. It's a majority draw.
Right.
What was the actual standing? I didn't get to see the fight. So what was the actual standing? I know a majority draw means two referees gave it a draw.
Right.
Who favored who on the fight card that didn't matter? Who was the one referee that said so and so won the fight? Who won the fight?
I don't remember the judges on it.
See, you're not helping me. You're not helping me. I'm out here in Sydney. I didn't see the fight. I need details. Everybody wants analysis. They want breakdowns.
Right.
But I'm gonna tell you. So whoever that referee said won the fight leans towards that person. Okay? But it doesn't matter because you got 1 out of 3. When 2 out of 3 call it a draw, this is what a majority draw is. For a quick breakdown analytically, just so that people understand how draws work in boxing, there are 3 ways of getting to a draw. Majority draw, which happened. No.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Majority draw. Unanimous draw. All 3 judges see the fight as a draw. And then a split draw.
Yeah.
One judge says this guy won. One judge said this guy won. And the last judge says it's a draw. So when you have just good fights, close fights, fighting the champion, come on, you got to know parables in boxing. Protect yourself at all times, even after the bell, right? Don't hit below the belt. Don't hit behind the head, right? Don't leave it up to the judges. You got to know parables in boxing. And if you're fighting a champion, you got to beat the champion. You got to know your parables in boxing. So he could beat him and he could not beat him. You're fighting the champion. The champion gets extra credit. You get no credit. Champion gets extra credit. Extra credit, no credit. Got to get credit. Go to creditkarma.com, get some credit, okay?
What do you believe about Keith Thurman? He's saying, hey, the champion get all the credit. The challenger don't get the credit. You have to look at it like this. I partially disagree because when you got a champion moving up from a lower weight division, you should get credit as a champion. Should not get shitted on like they do over here. You know what I'm saying? You holding a belt in a lower division, but their primary focus is the champion that's at the division that you're going to, and you want to sit and reverse the shit that's going on, like the Canelo effect. You know what I'm saying? They crap on Tank about him facing Lamont Roach, but yet when it comes to Canelo, they'll say what? What would they say? They shit on Tank for accepting the fight with Canelo. Accepting the fight with Lamont. But then when it comes to Canelo and Crawford, they're shitting on Crawford for goddamn trying to challenge himself and move up to fight Canelo. They're not shitting on Canelo. They're doing their best to act like they have influence. They say, don't fight him. Don't fight him. He's too small. He ain't qualified. He ain't this. He ain't that. But Lamont Roach proved to be a worthy challenger.
So the champion gets all the credit. 8.0 credit score. Okay?
By default.
Leave it out with the Maserati. Maserati, just sign here. Give me $5. You got a Maserati. You get all the credit. Okay? The challenger gets no credit. So when you really understand this approach to boxing, just based off fundamental parables, and then you rewatch a fight, you might just be like, yeah, he did it, but he ain't do it. Maybe he did it and didn't do it, or maybe it really was a close fight. Maybe it just is a majority draw. Of course, knockdown happens, knockdown counted, knockdown changes the whole scoring system, knockdown changes the whole fight. It was a gray line, very controversial little thing that happened. Do you want that to be how the fight was won? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like if an umpire, if it's like when the referees are the reason why a sporting event was one team wins and another team loses. It's all because of what the referee says, what the umpire said. He said it was a strike. It wasn't a strike. He said it was a foul ball. It wasn't a foul ball. It was a fair ball. You want something that you want a little call like that to be the call of everything. And it happens in sports. Sometimes it is. Sometimes what the umpire said. Sometimes what the referee did. Sometimes it is like that. Tank got lucky that dropping to a knee did not take a point. And hey, man, sometimes Hey, they always tell you, good luck before a fight.
Hey, Thurman talking this shit. You know what I'm saying? Is he lying though? Don't they tell you good luck? Don't they tell you good luck, people? He's not lying. I know it's being petty, very, very petty in this moment. But isn't that the case? They tell you good luck. They telling you good luck because boxing is the hocus pocus of combat sports, boy.
I don't know. The fans tell you good luck. I tell them it takes good skills, but the fans tell you good luck. Hey, Tank got some luck right there, and sometimes you need it. It is what it is. I think if it's a good fight, they should run it back, make more money, let the fans see who really wins, and then go from there. If he wants Shakur, whatever Tank wants in his career, if he don't ever want to run it back with Roach, he don't got to run it back with Roach, man. This is boxing, but I know. Unfortunately, I had to miss this Tank fight. I do like watching Tank fights. Tank. I will go back and rewatch it. But Tank fights are some of my favorite fights to watch. Canelo fights. There's only a few fights in a year that I really try to keep my eyes on. So unfortunately, I missed it. It sounded like a good one. I caught a few highlights. Looked like some exciting action. And best of luck to both fighters as they continue their career.
Well, that was Keith Thurman, and my whole point in letting him speak, basically playing his audio, is because he does have a mouthpiece to promote the fight. I'm not believing everything he's talking about, but he does make sense in some of the areas that he selects to visit, and he's qualified to do so, even though he has been on extremely long hiatuses, and he is just falling off the map. Him coming back fighting this youngster Jarvis, I hope it's not an embarrassing moment for Keith. Real talk. I hope it's not an embarrassing moment. But speaking of Shakur, right? Speaking of the complaints and whining of individuals that just don't want to accept, that they have no position of authority in boxing. You know what I'm saying? They're gladiators for sure. But even with being a gladiator, you have physical limits, because the only way that you're going to get benefits from being a gladiator is you have to fight another gladiator. You know what I'm saying? And that comes to a point where you think you have achieved enough as a gladiator. You want to get paid for your achievements and accolades, right? You want to get paid for that shit. Right or wrong, you want to get paid for it. But let's look at this. Let's look at this tweet from Shakur. Okay. Let's look at this. WCS has been basically speaking, saying that you can't talk about the best fighting the best when you talk about build a friend and all that, right? How Canelo said to fight David Benavidez, it was an absurd amount of money. And then, for him to fight Crawford was another preposterous amount of money. But Shakur Stevenson, tell him send $200 million apiece. Okay? The Spit Bucket Podcast, shout out to them. There are only 2 lightweight champs left who have defeated every man put in front of them as a professional fighter. Okay? At Keyshawn Davis and Shakur Stevenson. I know y'all don't want to hear it, but with those God-given skills come a massive responsibility to the sport. Well said, articulated, expressed in the chaos of hypocrisy. The hypocrisy is that these fighters are changing their tune. They're putting down one instrument and picking up another instrument. They will tell you in one breath they want to fight this person, that person, they want to be the great, and this, that, and the other, and just stand by and watch it happen. But the fight fans are complaining that the best don't fight the best. But they want to get on here and talk about every time a Shakur Stevens and Keyshawn Davis name come up, they're talking about they'll never fight each other. That's my brother. So now you put out a tweet and say 200 million. They said that you have an undefeated record. Tank has an undefeated record too. Just because you got a draw don't mean you haven't defeated everybody. It's just the scores couldn't define either fighter as a winner. It doesn't blemish you in any way, shape, or form. We all know the middle square is the one that lights up the best. You know what I'm saying? When people want to get criticism on deck. Oh, look how many times. Look at the red light. Look at the red light. Look at it. Look at the red light. He lost. Lamont Roach got that one in there. He lost to Jamel Herring. Look at that red light. Then you got the green light and the red light says 0. Then they want to say you ain't fought nobody. But how can you want 200 million when you haven't really proved that you're monetarily stamped as a $200 million fighter? Like, to price yourself out of a matchup that could make you millions, okay, it can make both of them millions, but to basically throw a price with numbers out there that no one believe, it's just a waste of oxygen and breath. Real talk, it's just a waste of time. Seriously. And you know, I like how it said at the end, but with those God-given skills come massive responsibility to the sport. You have a responsibility to hold yourself accountable and fight the best. What's the purpose of having a hot division when y'all want to zoom in on one fighter? What you're saying to the people is that Tank is the man, because you all are unwilling to say, I want to fight you. Let's do it, man. We'll still be brothers afterwards. How can we not be brothers afterwards, bro? Let's laugh about this business. It's just like you going in business with your friend on some property. Y'all both invest a certain amount of money to purchase the property, and then y'all start seeing, after a while, you start seeing the residuals. Well, the one good thing about this, you're going to get a huge residual on fight night. It's called a purse. And then if the fight fans loved it, you're going to be able to go back for another purse. You don't have to wait till the runners to make sure they have 12, 24 months of freaking punctual freaking rent due. Oh, they made their payments on time. I like them. Yeah, I like them. But I'm going to have to raise that up a little bit with inflation and everything. I'm going to have to raise it up. No, y'all can get paid right down the spot and then get a rematch. You get paid again and then go about your business. The wild part about it, man, y'all basically proving people right that Tank is the man at 135 because you're unwilling to fight each other. And then it's crazy to hear people say, you know, Tank want them to take out one another. If both of them supposed to be the man, then how's he going to take out either one of them? If both of them consider themselves to be the best, they fight each other, then that they prove extraction. They the best, you know? Yeah, but Tank and Keyshawn, this ain't about them, but I do get what the Spit Bucket podcast was talking about the responsibility to the sport, massive responsibility. But I hear too many people every time these two guys' name come up, they always want to get in the fetal position, kowtow and shit. Talking about, oh, they brothers, bow to you, thy holy son, you are my friend. You know what I'm saying? But yet they complain about boxing, going away and somebody else come over here and shaking it up and starting their own promotion. when y'all up here accepting 2 fighters, champions, to say, give us 200 million each. Who's going to do that for one fight? And you all, neither one of you all have proven outside of a regional freaking venue that you can get anywhere close to 800. 800, at least 5 to 800. You know, people want to brag about people selling out in their hometown. What about the global aspect of it? This is why boxing always going to have the chaos, man. Boxing is always going to have the chaos attached to it. Real talk. No doubt about it. It's always going to have the chaos. People going to have to understand that. It says, Keith said, do something. What have you done? Who have you fought? Who have you beaten? Tank has got names, said Thurman. He's been in the fire. I don't think Shakur has been in the fire. I think his matchmaking has been way weaker than just his just resumes. People see the skills. I get it. But word on the street is that boy has been slapped. You know? Hey, Keith Thurman had called, you know, certain fighters like Andy Cruz, Raymond Muratalla, Abdullah Mason, Ernesto Mercado, or William Cepeda. He called them killers. He said Shakur haven't beat killers like that. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, to his credit, he's been trying, I guess, to fight William Cepeda, and then Cepeda, you know, came down with a hand injury or whatever. You know what I mean? He came down with a hand injury. Real talk. Yeah, man, I get it, bro. You know what I'm saying? I get it. You make a solid point. You know, Andy Cruz versus Shakur should have happened by now. I get it, man. And once again, just the fact of that being mentioned tells me everything I need to know about how people perceive who's the best. You know what I'm saying? Like, if a fighter has a name already, especially Olympic pedigree, we can't hoist Lomachenko on the shoulders, parading him around the square because he came in a 2-time gold standard Olympian, right? We can't do that and allow him to fight for a title in his second fight. But yet, Andy Cruz coming here as a gold medalist. Also, he has some familiarity and history with Keyshawn Davis, the silver medalist. And people up here acting like, hey, he ain't ready yet. They're up there saying that Andy Cruz, you know, who fought a 10-rounder upon his freaking debut, he ain't ready. He ain't did enough. Man, come on now. That's what I want to happen. I want people to understand that this fighters that have 4 or 5 fights who come into mixed martial arts, they might have came from a different freaking combat sport. You know what I'm saying? They might have came from a different combat sport. But boxing need to get on track. If you're going to let Francis Ngannou come in here and fight Tyson Fury, who's a legitimate bona fide former unified champion and the current WBC, if you're going to let a non-boxer from another combat sport come in here and fight for a WBC title, I don't want to hear your complaints about Andy Cruz ain't ready. I don't want to hear it. These Olympians, these young prospects that's coming up, that has a big name. I don't want to hear you up there criticizing them like that. Because I think when this whole change happens with TKO promotion, I believe they're going to allow fighters in there, you know, whoever the matchmakers are, and, you know, however the conversation goes, you know, that's going to be a whole nother storyline in itself. Are they going to allow some of these fighters before they get 15-0 or something like that to have these fights. Because I think they should. All this working with the talent, bringing the talent up, cushioning their resume, people bragging on them. Hey, man, so-and-so's the next best. Hey, they the next best. They the next best. They the next best. They get up to 20-0 and finally would get a freaking a big fight, and they don't do so well because they should have already been fighting that type of competition. If you fighting guys who are not a 50-50 opposition, and then you finally get somebody that's considered a 50-50, and you don't do well or you lose, what's the purpose? Is the system broke? Is the system broke? I'm just curious if the system broke, bro. Real. That's all I want to know. Is the system freaking broke? To be honest, the link is in the chat. If I don't hit nothing, yeah, I know everybody got their own thing. You know, we lost the hour. I know people up here struggling. You know, they're mad as shit about losing the hour because they came closer, you know, a little bit quicker than they expected. You know what I'm saying? That's the way it is, though. Sometime, you know it was going to happen sooner or later. You knew it was going to happen, that the time was going to change. You feel me? So hopefully everybody have an outstanding work week. You know what I'm saying? I dropped a link in the chat in case somebody have anything to talk about the current state of affairs. And, you know, the current change that's going on. How boxing has another journey of purpose. This journey consists of a revision to the current format of boxing. We have something different that's going on that people want to say is not going to work because certain individuals like Dana White is not respected, all because he shitted on boxing. You know how many people shit on boxing? You know how many times you heard fighters shit on boxing? You know how many times you heard fighters shit on the consumers who support boxing? But yeah, you feeling some type of way about Dana White? What is this? You want to go back to old archives? Yeah, but that's my take on it, man. You know what I'm saying? I know people got shit going on. They don't want to jump on the panel. It's all good. But y'all hold it down, man. Shout out to everybody that was in the chat who pulled up. You know what I'm saying? We should do it again. Continue to support. And shout out to the hottest chat in the game.